Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's tip-top pro-level ladder on the cards this afternoon. How very exciting, mainly because we haven't had a lot of ladder action lately, so it's well overdue. First of all, it's been a while since I've done it, and I'll know you forgive me. It's the whole reason I'm here and the reason this channel exists. Hello and welcome to my newest subscribers. How truly fabulous it is to have you all on board. And if you like the content, guys, you like what you're looking at, but you're not 100% sure what it is you're looking at, the game is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, not, I repeat, not Supreme Commander 2. Can't say that more emphatically than that. Definitely not Supreme Commander 2. But it is, however, a slightly different version of Forged Alliance. I see a lot of people still saying, what's going on? This game looks a bit different. I don't get it. What mods are you running? It doesn't look right. The game is Forged Alliance, Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, but it is Forged Alliance Forever. It's the multiplayer driven, community-driven client put together after the creators of Forged Alliance GPG pulled support for the game. That was about 8 years ago. So the community set up this project to keep the game alive. It's modded, it's balanced, it's continually improved over that period, and will continue with your support to be so in the future. So come along, guys, check it out. It's like £8-9 UK wide. It's whatever it is, $12-13 US. And once you have that game installed on Steam or wherever it is you get it from, all you need to do is download the Forged Alliance Forever multiplayer client. You can find a link to that in the description below this and each and every other one of the videos. It'll allow you to come play with us, browse our replay vaults, our mod vaults, our map vaults, all free of charge. Once you make that initial outlay, it really is just hours and hours and hours of sheer unbridled entertainment for a very reasonable price. Can't stress that enough. Come join us, come check it out. And we've got like between 1,000 and 1,200 players on at peak times, and it's huge range, huge strata of abilities. And if you are finding it difficult to get into a game, guys, when you first show up, because it can be difficult, don't be shy. Throw your own game up there. Put noobs welcome or noob game, whatever you want up there. You will find takers, I guarantee it. Alright, that's enough of all of that gubbins. Let's get on with today's game. As we said, it's going to be a ladder match, and it's going to be on Triple T V8, a map name I do not recognize. How truly exciting. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Chain. Ka-ching! Instant loading, that's what we like to see on a map. I just don't recognize it. It's very reminiscent of a different version of the Ditch, but who knows? Who knows? Blodir, I'm going to sound like a total whiner wiener. Triple T, WTF. Well, let's check out our players while they're having a chat in local. Up here at the top, in the red corner, it's Blodir going Seraphim, opening first land. And down here at the bottom, his opponent, Turinturamber, who's going Aeon. So Seraphim versus Aeon, lots of floaty, naughty in today's game. Super exciting and super handy on a map with a huge puddle right in the center like this one. Blodir clearly doesn't like this map, so it's obviously being recycled enough in the pro side of things. It shows you just how little work I'm doing these days on ladder, which just isn't right as far as I'm concerned. But it really is. Maybe this is like a rerun of an old TA map or whatever it is. Answers in the comment section below, guys, if you have more information on that. Would love to know the backstory behind it, who made it. Whatever information you've got, please do share. Let's take a look at their glorious green openings. So Blodir, yep, going first land, as is Turinturamber. Turinturamber getting that first one going for the Hydro. Exactly the same scenario there with Blodir. Spat out 2 or 3 engineers, got the Hydro, assisted the Hydro with the Com. And then we're going to get 2 T1 P-Gens for Blodir, who's going to then switch up to an air factory. And Turinturamber is going 3 T1 P-Gens, going air factory, again going land factory for his third factory, and then switching up over to 3 more T1 P-Gens. So that's pretty much where we're at with the opening. That's enough of that while those guys get established. Let's take a look around and see what we're dealing with here. So we've got a second set of starting locations here, which are redundant for the time being. One on the left, and it's Mirror over here on the right. Nice symmetrical map by the looks of things. Decent amounts and pockets of reclaim littered about the place. Actually less than I thought. Just a few kind of sparse rocks and some trees dotted about in various positions. And what I did spot earlier, I had a quick scan around, little civilian city derelict up here at the top, looking like in need of serious reclaim. Something out of a, I don't know, a post-apocalyptic vision here with empty buildings, like a neutron bomb's been dropped. Everything's still standing, but everyone's dead. In need of dire clean up there with all the greenery on the pavement. Scout plane out for Turinturamber, getting a good read over the top of Blodir's base. Blodir a little bit behind with his air scout, but he'll get a good read. Well, I say get a good read. There is already a defending scout, a defending interceptor in play, but he's not doing any kind of circuits or laps or anything, so he will get a solid read on that. All the intel garnered. He'll be like, ooh, you've got pretty much exactly the same setup I have. 2 land, 1 air factory, all obviously very consistent with the meta. Both comms have left the starting locations and trundling up to expansions up to the far corner. So Blodir heading off down to the bottom right, making sure of that group of 4 mechs is down there. Seems like an ideal place to put your comm. And conversely, Turinturamber, actually not conversely, that's the wrong word, precisely the same tactic, stratagem, whatever you want to call it, being employed by Turinturamber, who's heading up on his side of the map, in the opposite direction admittedly, but to that very same end. Engineers hard at work, going after those rocks ready for reclaim. Incidentally, speaking about mods and things, people still ask me about this up at the top. So, and that's people who are FAF players alike as well. This is Hazard's Supreme Scoreboard version 2 mod. I did actually think this had been integrated into the main FAF client, but maybe it hasn't, because I'm still getting lots of people asking me about it. But if you haven't got access to this for whatever reason, check in on FAFs in the mods vault, and it should be near the top actually on the main page, because everybody seems to be using it. One of the more popular mods out there, certainly very handy from a casting perspective. Turinturamber pushing his way up towards the mass up there now. Where is his waypoint? So he's going straight in there with the comm. Going to start setting up shop around those mechs. He's got a little scout and an Aurora waiting for him, but we're already seeing a couple of units coming around the edge there from Blodir. 1 Tham, 2 Thams, and a Selen for a little bit of intel. Airdrop. Chariot full of about 4 NGs. Dropping those off straight away. Going to get to work on that, and that allows Turinturamber to stop in the mass field. He's scooped a few of the rocks already, and that's definitely sped up his expansion just a notch. Blodir has gone solo with his comm. Got his comm to do all of that work for him. Means that reclaim for the time being untouched. Current mass readings has Blodir ahead, 39 to 33, although he's about to power lock himself. Yeah, there he goes. Not ideal. So power balance always tricky to achieve, especially on maps actually if you have a lot of mass available to you. Trying to keep enough power generation going. But it seems to be a 100 mass total advantage there garnered so far. 7.5k versus 7.4 in favour of Blodir. Blodir, incidentally, the higher rated player in this game by about 100 global ranking points. 2304 versus 2209. But really, once you get up to those kind of levels, I can't imagine there'd be a great chasm of talent between these two players. All depends on what sort of games they like to play most. And that little incursion shooed away. They are like flies to Vigo. That great big shiny Aeon ACU butting away those Thams as they go running back up towards the top corner. A couple of little Rexes there to hoover up for Turinturamber. A little extra mass and a little bit of engagement brewing here between some Auroras and Blodir's comm. Not going to stand much of a chance getting up close and personal, but of course Auroras have that little extra range advantage which you want to make use of because they are tin foil. Looked like we had a major air engagement brewing there, but it looked like Blodir subsequently pulled his fighters back onto his side of the river. So it never happened in the end. Turinturamber continues his advance. That's going to be a pickup of a mechs. A few Tham kills in the process. Couple of wrecks for his coffers. He really wants to get up here and seal this corner off, ideally. I don't know how much mass is stored up in these civilian buildings. It always looks like there should be a huge amount of reclaim, but they never seem to yield as much as you would expect. I don't remember what the hotkey is to show the mass. Oh, that wasn't it. What have I done there? It's got no idea what's going on there. Excuse the thingies in the background. No. It's definitely not it. I can't rename units. Stop me playing. And Turinturamber already fast at work. Hoovering up all of that stuff. God, I wish I could remember what that hotkey was. Shows how long it's been since I've done it. Blodir rolling into this corner now with his comm. There's already a T1 PD up, so he's going to take some damage, but there's not really enough here to concern him too much. Quickly hoovers up the wall section, allows him to go in on that T1 PD. Needs to be a little bit careful though, because check this out. Aurora's coming in off the river here, and I think he can afford to be more aggressive. I'm quite surprised he hasn't been. I suppose he... Yeah, I think he probably read that right. There's quite a few Thams in here now, and it just would have been throwing those units away. Could have got Blodir down into the red, but I think that would have been it. Blodir did lose about 40% of his health in that exchange, though. And we're already at T2 air for Turinturamber, who's headed up there with his first gunship. One kill on the cards there, and he has managed to evict Blodir from that top left-hand corner. And that looked like a T2 mechs that went down there. So Turinturamber getting good work done, trying to keep Blodir in check, which is no bad thing. 57 mass apiece, current reading, all leveled. And that Spectre put to work now against a defenseless army in the bottom right. Blodir might as well just keep going here and see what damage he can cause. He's not going to be able to save those Thams. Maybe he can, actually. He's sent a detachment down here to engage that Spectre, which has fallen off the boil, surprisingly enough. Hasn't kept up with the target prioritization on that T1 spam. In come the interceptors from Blodir. Interceptors for Turinturamber were much more concerned with what's going up here. He's already got some swift winds as well on the field. So, surprising he didn't dispatch some of those down here to help keep that Spectre alive. But again, it's all about what you can see. And we don't have universal intel, or anywhere near it, at 10 minutes into the game. So highly likely Turinturamber was in the dark on that impending air pressure. Aurora's moving back out to engage that forward group of Thams, and this is what you want to do. You want to skirmish with the Auroras if you're newer to the game. Like I say, they're paper thin, but they do have a range advantage, and you can keep microing them and keep moving them back, maximize their potential in your engagements. What you don't want to do is run headfirst into your opponent's range like we see there. Win, but still unnecessary casualties taken. But look what's going on here. Turinturamber really capitalizing on this early air power that he's got, this extra tech advantage. In come the interceptors from Blodir. They tangle with Turinturambers, many of whom incidentally are bingo on fuel. That's going to massively affect their combat abilities, but the swift winds really will make all the difference there. Spectres largely destroyed, one very heavily damaged one left to tickle away at that T1 land factory. In fact, there's 2 there now. That seems like a new addition. Full health. And another group brought out to assault the bottom right-hand corner. This is great early stuff from Turinturamber, who's ahead in eco now, 61 to 55. And that's a legit reading. No power lock present at the moment for Blodir, who is hemorrhaging territory thanks to this early tech switch in air. Now, Blodir has used his resources instead of going for a early bit of T2 air pressure, although he is at T2 air now. But he did use some of his resources in that time to throw down a naval yard. Turinturamber nearby with his comm under the water. He won't be able to engage with that. But these auroras can cause difficulties, and they've already badly damaged that naval yard, which is at about half health or just under. Look at that. That whole forward position just annihilated. One lone but damaged hydrocarbon left. And now we've got 2 T2 mexes up here that are in trouble. Turinturamber really pushing his lead early in this one. He's 67 to 51. That's going to move further. The dial 65 to 45. There goes another T2 mex. 63 to 37. Another mex going down here. This is great work from Turinturamber. Wants to be careful. We do have T1 air defense turret there. He probably could have engaged that and taken it out, but what would have been the benefit? Only one radar to have got at that little station. Now, definitely public enemy number 1. Let's take this out. That's where you want to be going. Shouldn't take those gunships long. There it goes. So, one lone frigate in the water now for Blodir. Naval yard destroyed. Turinturamber on the absolute rampage right now. Blodir down here with his commander. Needs to be careful that doesn't get singled out by the gunships. He is right by the deeper part of the water. Actually, is that even passable, that terrain? I suppose he could scoot off down here, get beneath the waves. But it's vital that Blodir try and wrestle control of the skies back right now, because these gunships have been crucifying him. Gunships are dealt with for the time being. Swift winds getting dealt with too. That's just how many interceptors Blodir had there. Even the swift winds couldn't contend with their lower tech opposition right there. Sheer numbers winning out on that front. A run by from Turinturamber. Massive Aurora pile pushing up that far eastern edge, and now it's Blodir's turn to get involved with gunships. Start spitting out some Vulthus. He's going to use those to counter this little Aurora platoon. And they are just going to get massacred. Nothing they can do about that. Might possibly get to kill that one newly constructed mechs over there, but that's about it. Engineers running for their lives. T2 upgrade on the way for Blodir. Ouch. A few gunships getting taken out over there. So where are we at? Turinturamber on 70 mass per tick, 45 for Blodir. That's a massive advantage right there. Comparable numbers up at the top left. No one's likely to push that and gain anything right now. Upgrade nearing 50% now for Blodir. It's going to give him a solid amount of build capacity down here and an extra chunk of hit points for his comm. when that completes, assuming that completes. And Blodir's rebuilt his naval yard, so committed to the naval play. And it's not a bad play. If you can grab and hold control of the water on a map like this, is absolutely huge, especially with those Seraphim cruisers and their long-range missile-based weaponry. Cause all sorts of problems for those bases. Stones throw away from the water. Blodir going to back those troops up. Where are the swift winds? They're down here. Few interceptors dispatched to deal with a couple of the gunships getting involved with this pile of FAMs up here. Once again, gunships isolated away from their escorts. But look at that horde of Volthus crossing the water from Blodir, getting involved in the gunship game himself. Gotta love the action in this one. Neither player resting on their laurels. T2 mechs down. Is he going to stick around and grab the other? Doesn't look like it. And that's because all of the air power for Blodir has been wiped out. So he wanted to try and get somewhere sensitive and destroy something important. Maybe a T2 P-Gen or something, but there was never any chance of that. Would have been better actually if he'd just stuck around and taken out the T2 mechs, but alas, it wasn't to be. But look at this turnaround. That must be a power lock. No, it's not. So Blodir has taken the lead massively. It's now 75 to 50. A complete reversal of fortune on the eco side of things. Turinturamber did manage to produce a naval yard, but now that's going to get taken out. Very aggressively placed right on the doorstep of Blodir, but it was too close and too far behind in development. Now, another couple of Spectres rolling in. Only T1 mechs is up here. And there's two T1 turrets. That's not ideal. Interceptors rolling in from Blodir. Should take out those gunships. There they go. Troops up at the top left for Turinturamber, getting hassled, but this time they've got a better unit mix. A few thistles in there, some anti-air capability. Those swift winds really do make the difference at T2 level, allowing Turinturamber to consolidate air power more effectively than his opponent at this stage. There's T2 point defenses there, a couple of them in that little forward base belonging to Blodir. Wisely, those Auroras are going to avoid pushing into that base. That would likely be a slaughter. So instead, they're just skirting up the river, taking some pot shots at that land factory, which is already smouldering in the back there. Some handily placed hillocks for just this sort of play, as it happens. Not sure why Blodir dislikes this map so much, but let's face it, it's all a question of personal taste at the end of the day. Certainly making for an entertaining match right now. That naval yard's still alive. It did actually manage to get a frigate out, which really surprises me, but I don't think for very long. Although that frigate's distracted the other two from Blodir, so he might have bought himself a little bit of time here, but we've got a Yenzine just waiting. Blodir needs to send that in and just finish that naval yard off. Turinturamber's been completely forced out of that top left-hand corner by pressure from the air and sea, and he's dropped back to protect the other starting location up here. I suppose kind of wise. You've got a bunch of T2 mechs in there. Blodir still ahead 85 to 72. I'm astounded at how Blodir managed to turn this around, and I'm kind of in the dark about how he managed to do it. All of the momentum was with Turinturamber. Yeah, they had a few air engagements that definitely went Blodir's way, surprisingly, considering the tech mismatch. But credit where credit's due, he's managed to hang on in there. Excuse me, taking periodic sips of water. I'm almost better, even though literally been all over the news yesterday. Coronavirus has turned up in my hometown of Worthing, so that's great. If I disappear for a few weeks, you'll know why. Hopefully that's all it will be, and this won't be the last time we see each other. Depressing thought though that might be. 83% done on a gun upgrade there for Turinturamber. Looking ahead, presumably, to ousting and holding that top left corner once again. And we're getting a gun upgrade as well at the same time for Blodir. This time it's speed and range. That takes Blodir to 1 gun and 1 T2 engineering suite upgrade on his comm. That is a precarious mechs to try and hold. That's changed hands a couple of times now. And look at this. Knocking on the door. Admittedly, these frigates don't possess the weaponry to be able to reach the main base, but it just takes a couple of cruisers in there, and then that's all kinds of problems for Turinturamber. Blodir yet to embark on a T2 naval upgrade, though, so that's a ways off. Wonder if now that he's holding that position and he's aware he's effectively got de facto control of the waters, if that's not now going to become a priority to switch up and give him something to hit out at the base with, and also at the same time cut down the range of movement from these gunships which have been causing him so much problem. So many problems over this game. Get some cruisers out there with their anti-air capabilities. Once again, that top left-hand corner switches hands, but why, oh why, won't he send a small detachment of fighters to cover his gunships? It's starting to get me a little upset now. Massive air engagement down here right by Turinturamber's base, though. If you look at that kicking off, hard to say who's getting the upper hand right now. It's certainly not helping Turinturamber that we've got some flak, and Ioshiva turning up for Blodir down here. And Turinturamber has tech switched up to land T3 now. We've got Harbingers pushing out. Is that going to be significant in the battle for the bottom right? We'll have to wait and see. Breakthrough up at the top left. We've even got a Harbinger up here as well. That's quite a lot of firepower marching towards the main base. He's going to want to get some gunships out to counter that. It's only T1 anti-air on the ground up here, so nothing too deadly. I still think muzzle velocity could be raised a bit on the Harbingers. I know that's kind of the Aeon thing, slow muzzle velocity, but they're inferior to the Bricks and the Percys. Why not give them a little bit of extra oomph, cut down those missed shots. And no joy there. Suppose he managed to take down 1 T2 mechs. And Blodir still with a 10 mass advantage, 98 to 88. And over the course of the game, he's had almost a 10k advantage, 9.5k. He's pulled in more mass than Turinturamber. We're starting to see Harbingers out in larger numbers now. Now, where is Blodir's comp? Still loitering around down here, so 3 Harbingers is not going to be enough to dislodge him. Lumnars with a couple of Harbs on board. Airdropping across the water. Is he gearing up for an assault here? Don't get shot down. Oh my word. It's alright, they're only frigates. So, a bit of sandwich action going on. Going to attack from the south and the west. But there are Vulthus lying in wait. And well covered as well by Blodir's fighter swarm. Meanwhile, the T2 PD's handling a single file stream of the Harbingers. See, this is just waste. To me, this is wasted. Turinturamber turning around wisely, sparing those 3 harbs. And now we're starting to see siege tanks rolling out from Blodir, so he's transitioned to T3 land as well. 27 minutes gone, and although Blodir has been ahead for most of it, he's dropped behind now. I spoke too soon. Curse of the commentator comes into effect. 124 now to 116. But it has, I suppose, now, you look at it in that light, it's been a relatively up and down fight. And it's still, with the exception of Blodir's naval presence, it's still largely 50-50. Turinturamber just needs to find a way to keep his gunships alive, try and become a little bit more efficient with them. He gets them out, he gets them involved, and they get shot down. Wants to be pulling those back now. What can Turinturamber actually see? Well, nothing. There is no intel really what to speak of, and that's because he is badly power locked. Wonder if he's working on a T3 power plant. Yes, he is. So that is now up and running. See what he can see at this point. Well, he's still only just got the edge of this huge pile, so very limited on intel on this side of the map, and that's really hampering things. And I'm talking about questionable decisions he's making. It's not helped by that lack of intel. T2 naval headquarters up and running. That's under assault now by a couple of blazes. He's brought with him a couple of ascendants as well to try and protect him against an inevitable Vulthu gunship response. Not, however, going to help him against these Yenzines and the frigates, which are just brutal. Not enough credit given to the massive alpha strike capabilities of those Yenzines. Very underrated unit in my mind. Oh, and now we have some parity on the field naval-wise. Turinturamber with his own naval yard. He's going straight for the T2 upgrade on that, and that's proceeding very quickly indeed. Has he got stored up reserves of mass? Well, a little bit. Uses most of them, if not all, for that. Now, where's he going off the back of it? That's the question. Is he going straight for T3? I'm not sure he's got the eco for that yet. No, he's going to spit out a few destroyers and cruisers first, I would imagine. Probably just destroyers. Try and use those to get a win in the water. So yeah, these different looking factories for headquarters. The very concept of headquarters as well. If you're just playing on the old Steam patch, that will seem completely alien to you. It's an example of the additions and, in my mind, unquestionably the improvements that have been made to the FAF game, or the FA game under FAF. A lot of GPG purists still about who question the changes and say, oh, it feels like a different game. Well, in some sense, I mean, no one can say it doesn't feel fresh, I'll tell you that much. It's definitely adjusted, but there is huge method in the madness, believe me. Attack missile base up here. for Turinturamber, mixing it up once again, and he's launching those, I assume, against the naval yard. Could have done with 2 of those. There's the second missile inbound. Lots of engineers around here, but they aren't repping the factory. Really working on or helping assist. It's what looks like a destroyer. That's so nearly dead. If only he'd had another one to bring in. Tactical missile defense going up. There it is. With no second missile inbound. Ah. Has he missed out there? Yeah, look. Oh, no. We've got 4 missiles in the silos amongst those 2. He does manage to get it. I swear, I thought for a minute there Blodir was going to get away with that one. But then this is huge. Look at the timing on this. He's taken down the factory. Blodir managed to get 1 destroyer out. And look what's coming his way. Shielded Aeon destroyers with plenty of floaty, naughty blazers inbound as well. This has gone suddenly very bad in the water for Blodir. He is applying a little bit of counter pressure down here with what looks like 6 siege tanks rolling in on the main base. What has Turinturamber got to defend against that? He's got a couple of destroyers, but this is going to cause problems for him in turn. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to split screen, keep an eye on these 2 theatres, because it's all very important stuff. We've got torpedo bombers hovering in over here. They're not really necessary right now. Everything under control. Down goes the last naval yard for Blodir. And it's 154 to 155 apiece now as the eco totals are level. Meanwhile, still 3 siege tanks alive, down to 2, rolling in towards the main base. But those destroyers doing great work at range, and in come the Harbingers as well. That should safeguard the base, but it was close. Could have gone much worse. Let's check back in on this assault up here at the top. And one thing it's critically lacking is ascendant capabilities to help shoot down the gunship response. But Swift Winds handle that nicely. And where are the interceptors from Blodir? A little bit slow on the uptake there. And we've got ASF in the mix as well, so he's transitioned into T3 Air. This could be a bad engage now for Turinturamber. Only he managed to get some ascendants in there. And what are they doing? They're hovering and standing. No attack commands given. That's gone horribly wrong. That's a dream. An absolute dream of an engage for Blodir, who's just cemented air dominance. Excuse me. Still just about alive. Turinturamber standing with his shiny metal balls out, dealing with this personally with his comm, sending in some engineers as cannon fodder while he sits back and overcharges these units one at a time. I wonder how close it would have been if an attack order was given on that commander, but there's so much going on in this ladder match. It's happening all over the place. It's completely understandable that reaction time might be delayed here and there a little bit. Now, where are we at on the air side of things for Turinturamber? Now he's seen those ASFs. He's still producing Swift Winds out of that HQ, not going for the T3 upgrade as yet. Is that a mistake? We'll soon find out. Gunships being employed by Turinturamber as base defense still down here as he's moving in to try and contain these Yenzines. Wants to try and put a bit of distance between him and this Iosheva over here. Fortunately for him, Destroyer manages to deal with that. Viking still working on frigates, trying to contain this floaty spam heading his way. $35 gone. Could we be about to see some kind of momentum shift here? Well, I'll tell you where momentum has been employed, and that's in Blodir's eco game. If you take a look at the scoreboard up there, I don't know if that's reclaim related or what. I think it partially was. 203 to 176. Might have been losing military assets in the river and whatnot, but he's certainly doing a fine job of upscaling his eco and outpacing his opponent. 156 to 228. And that's genuine reading. No power lock in play there for Turinturamber. Stream of anti-air units just patrolling the waters down here. What he needs to do is to utilize this advantage he's got in the sea now, get some cruisers out, help cut down that air advantage and get something that he can fire inland and put some pressure on these two main bases with. You're not going to be able to do much about the infrastructure in the canyons here. These T3 mexes shielded perfectly from the water by these huge rock formations up the middle. But there's certainly some angles of attack on the two main bases. Blodir just holding south of the top left corner with some T3 units. Still in control of that position. He's got both of the corners, but definitely not making the most out of those corners. His advantage comes from better teched up eco on his side of the map. The mexes in the corners, and indeed away from the corners, are all T1 still. Hardest ones to defend. We hit T2 back here, and then we've got T3 in here and down in the canyons. Probably worth getting these teched up to T3, and you can see that's on the way. That's at 6%. That one's paused. It's been started, but a shield upgrade on the way for Turinturamber. Interesting. Is he planning to go full Rambo with that commander? Wow, okay. T3 upgrade completed for Turinturamber. Is that that's a missile ship? That is enormous. Just what we've been saying he needs to do. He needs to find a way to hit at these bases. He needs to be a little bit careful. This whole blob of T2 right here are hover tanks. That is all stuff that can be sent at his navy. That's what Blodir is going to use to hit back against that naval advantage that Turinturamber's got. That's actually a lot of damage. Very underrated unit, the Yenzine. I don't know if Turinturamber can hold this. What's he got of his own under the shield coverage? This is mostly shields and anti-air in here. And this is a missile ship. All we've got really is a cruiser, a few frigates, some up here as well. We do have destroyers further up. They've been brought down from the north now that he's recognized the threat. Oh, if he loses that missile ship, that torrent, that will be a crushing blow. Those things are not cheap. And that would have been a tool used to wreak untold havoc on Blodir's main bases, and I think he might lose it. The Yenzines for Blodir need to be prioritizing that. Oh, but in comes the massive AoE from the destroyers up here. Bunched up formations. Sitting there, not being microed. That's a dream target. It's like fish in a barrel. That actually went quite well for Turinturamber. But we've got more Yenzines pouring in across the river to the north. Oh, and he might still lose it to gunships. He's going to. I can't believe it. In come the swift winds. But it won't be enough. That torrent goes down. Couldn't keep it alive. It was separated from the shield coverage and the ascendants down here. It's so hard. Blodir being pretty masterful at drawing Turinturamber away. He's been doing it all game with his placement. Drawing Turinturamber out of position, pulling his unit formations apart. Not going in on the comm up here with this group of Yenzines. He's going to wheel south around that position. He did have a few units threatening the main base, but there's Harbingers lying in wait there, so no penetration on that one. And now look at this commanding mass advantage Blodir's got. 309 to 185. He's just sunk that torrent. Yes, he's not got control of the river, but with this mass advantage, if he can keep pumping out these hover tanks at the rate he's been doing, I mean, look at the amount of factories Blodir's got up here. He's T2 wise, he's got 8 T2 factories just spitting out these hover tanks continuously, and he's even accruing stored mass at the same time. And he's managed to pick off 2 T3 mexes back here for Turinturamber as well, who drops to 131 mass per tick. This game is turned violently in favour of Blodir. Turinturamber desperately trying to defend with those gunships. Even got a siege tanks in the mix there. Mass T1 bombers hastily thrown together to defend. That's when you know your opponent's panicking. Quickly get it, anything out that can shoot at those units, and fast. Do with an overcharge on that siege tank. Didn't matter in the end. He's like, I've got this, it's fine. Why are you panicking? And a new missile ship is out. So torrent number 2, give you an idea of what that can hit. It can hit everything, even if it stops there. It can hit that entire base, and from over here as well. It can probably get a solution on those T3 mexes. There are some TMDs in there, but they really struggle to keep up with the sheer rate of fire of those missile ships. One of the most awesome standoff weapons in the game. But again, this Yenzine pressure. Is he going to lose his second torrent? Oh my god. I'm not favoriting Turinturamber at all. I promise you, it's just purely because I love that unit. I don't want to see it sunk again. It's like your mother disturbing you when you're pleasuring yourself and not getting to finish. You don't get to see that thing fired. Not that I'm speaking from experience, of course. Excuse me there for the appalling camera work. Oh my goodness. One operational shield left. The numbers of Yenzines are dwindling, but they're dwindling fast enough. And there's yet more moving south now. This relentless pressure is just slowly beginning to confine Turinturamber He's got nothing guarding this bottom right-hand corner now. It's all wrapped up in trying to defend this naval base and the main base. "44 minutes gone. That torrent nearly gone as well. Oh my god. It's just more pouring in all the time. And look at this. That's been rebuilt over there, but that's gone. Those two are gone. And now at almost a 70k deficit, total mass accrued in favor of Blodir. And there goes the second torrent. Oh no! Eco that Turinturamber can't be affording to lose right now. Can't afford those kind of losses when he's this far behind. This is highly problematic. You can really tell when an alternative strategy is working, but there's no rush to change it up. Blodir has not gone straight back in trying to get his naval yards up and running again. He's perfectly happy just to keep throwing this floaty spam at his opponents. Why? Because it is fundamentally working. He's got Yenzines are soaking up the damage and employing their Alpha Strike, and now he's got Zuis in the back as well. Lots of floaty suicide mortars. So unbelievably overpowered still in my mind. Hugely useful. Devastatingly cheap. And that's going to be the end of that T3 HQ, I'm sure. Just needs a little bit of prioritization. In come those Zui shells. And there it goes. What's going on down here? A GC under construction. That's interesting. It's going to be a huge mass sink right there. Gonna have to do something spectacular with it to turn this one around. Blodir looking almost unstoppable now as we approach 50 minutes. So much eco, and he's got a nuke. Oh, he's got a nuke launcher at least. Recently constructed, about 25% done on its first missile, and that is going to catch Turinturamber completely by surprise. When was the last time he scouted that main base? Well, he'll know it's there if he's looking and paying attention. He has been scouting, but no strategic missile defense that I can see. He is wide open for nuclear attack. One up by his commander up here. You would imagine you'd still go for the main base, though. That's if it's even still standing by the time that nuke is done. Harbingers retreating in towards the main base. How long on the GC? That's about 2/3 done. Massive pressure being brought to bear now by Blodir. In come the Zuis. Down go some of those T2 power generators. everybody's worst nightmare. Hordes of Zuis getting in amongst your business. I say the T2P gens, I assumed he'd go straight for them, but he hasn't been. Looks like he was actually going after the T3 anti-air there, the SAMs. I can't believe that and the quantum reactor survived. But maybe that's short-lived. Going after it now, but only a couple of Zuis left, and there's the GC. Now, what's he going to do with it? Does he send it in straight over here? I mean, we've got Blodir's commander. The problem is he's pretty vulnerable from the air, potentially. Let's have a quick look at air forces and what we're dealing with here. Blodir with 87 T1 interceptors and 34 ASFs. Turinturamber with 108 T2 Swiftwinds and still not at T3 air at all. So I don't know which way that would go. Depend on the engage, I suppose. Doesn't look like the GC's being just dispatched in there to go for it. There is a lot of spam in there, an awful lot. And just look at it. He's just pouring them out of every nook and cranny. Every crevice is just oozing tanks and light artillery and sending them into the fray. So many units. And now it's the forward base up at the top that's under pressure. Bit of mobile artillery in there. A couple of Serenities, but they don't look like they're going to last very long. Turinturamber standing tall with its comm. Upgraded to the hilt.
Strategic launch detected.
But hello! Where's that going? No ping there. It's going to the main base, as we hypothesized it might. Blodir completes an experimental. What would that one be? Presumably in Ithota somewhere. Yeah, he's building them down here. So he's got a brand new chicken. Turinturamber being ousted by all that spam. That nuke coming in for the main base. Nothing to stop it. Brings what troops he can out, but boom, baby! Whoa! Main base for Turinturamber ionized. He manages to contain the attack up here. Turinturamber took a bit of a battering on his comm shield, down to about sub 2,000 hit points. But the GC joins him. Now is he going on a rampage? We'll see. We've got gunships for Blodir lying in wait of that potential threat. His air force is there to help hit back at anything gunship wise that comes his way. Last handful of hubs engage the overwhelming pressure that's moving in down here. The Ithota's been dispatched, so this position is now falling to Blodir, come what may. This is last ditch effort, last chance saloon for Turinturamber with that GC. And are we going to get a defensive Ithota up in time? Blodir is certainly working on it. If I were him, I would take everything off that nuke launcher and put it on that Ithota. He'll know he's got a GC marching around the edge. But he's got a lot of gunships as well. If you can get a good engage Air Force-wise, maybe try and not have it over the top of these Redeemers. And interestingly, Turinturamber not accompanying the GC with the comm. Honestly feel like that's just making it too easy. Just bring gunships in, he'll have to respond to defend the commander. That's where the air battle comes, and before you know it, the GC's lost, and then that really is game anyway. But to be honest, he is now pulling build capacity to assist that Ithota, which is already 50% done, so there's no way the GC is getting in here, I don't think, without that being finished. Lots of gunships to defend. It's all about making a big display now. How much stuff can he kill before Blodir wins out? Yeah, I don't know what Blodir's issue is with this map. It's certainly produced a great game today. Gunships poised. Air battle ensues behind the GC. The gunships move in. They're going to throw down everything they can on him. The Zuis catch up to it as well. No micro to be had here. It's just balls to the wall. Try and make it into the base. He's into the yellow. Well, I spoke too soon. He didn't get the Ithota finished in time. But you know what? All the rest of the spam might just get the job done anyway. Blodir's Air Force wins out as we expected it to do. He does get to the shield. He's going to take down a P-Gen, which will take out a whole bunch of the engineers working on that. He'll get the second P-Gen. He's actually not doing too badly here. 60% health, but now he's in range of the T1 PDs. Up goes everything in the base up here. This will feel like a little bit of vitriolic revenge, but sadly for Turinturamber it won't be enough. ACU not in residence at this main base. The Vulthus will take down the Colossus. Turinturamber comes out with a little bit of critical suiciding. Maybe didn't like the mass suiciding. What's wrong with it? It's all part of it. Spam, perfectly legitimate tactic. You can outproduce your opponents and throw everything you can at him, then why on earth not? Turinturamber now in full retreat with his comm. Any gunships left? Yeah, here they come, and a Control K beats him to it anyway. Turinturamber bows out at 55 minutes, almost 56. What a gain. And well done. It was by no means clear cut. Yes, it took a long time for Blodir to close that one out once he got that significant eco advantage when he just outdid his opponent on upgrading over here. But still, nonetheless, it was there were lots of twists and turns in that. Turinturamber was in the ascendancy for a fair amount of it, and it could have gone either way for a lot of that. So highly entertaining. Well played, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. To you, my lovely audience members and subscribers, if you like, guys, hit like, because that helps the algorithms. It's not been doing too badly of late, but all your support and help is greatly appreciated. And on that front, guys, if you feel so inclined, don't forget the Patreon campaign. You guys are helping to keep this channel alive. So please consider giving if you haven't already. And if you do decide to, or indeed if you have in the past, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are just the best. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.